Alright guys, sorry about that. The thing got unplugged, which is not the first time that's even happened. Sadly, even though I was specifically trying to avoid that from happening, it still happened. I try to do this thing where I sit on my gloves with the seat heater on because that's necessary when the temperatures are cold like this. And I was trying to do that without snagging the cable, but of course I ended up snagging the cable and it yanked out. So I don't know. I hope this is actually coming through. I hope we're not getting a bunch of crackles because again, this is all while I'm driving, so like I don't really have the time to really be vetting all this stuff, but I'm just sick and tired of there being issues with the recordings. Like I'm just very sick and tired of it. It's whether I forget to export something or, um in this case it's like and now I have two recordings, so I have to remember to splice them together. I just hate it. I mean, really, it's caused a lot of organization problems where at this point, like, I don't even have the patience or the time to sift through everything. So there seems like there's like an episode, for example, that is just like completely messed up, but I'm just gonna post it because I don't even know. I don't know what's good or what's bad, so I'm just posting everything I got. Like I don't have the time to be sifting through that. I just don't. Sorry. It's like I can't be dealing with that. I just can't. Like that, it's just not worth it. So I guess afterwards I could delete and upload if it was really problematic, but I just don't have the patience or there's just too much going on, and like I can't be like sifting through like all these videos to try to figure out what the good takes or what the problem even. I don't even remember what the problem was. So it's like in this case I'm just saying forget it, just posting all that stuff. But yeah, it's frustrating that happened because it ruins the whole routine. Like I really want the peace and the ability to just have all the videos all fine. Everything's good, everything's fine. You know what I'm saying? That's what I want. I don't really want to deal with what I've been having to deal with. I don't like having to deal with it. So anyways, before all of that nonsense came through, I was talking about how I think my upbringing gave me a very specific and pretty good gauge for things, not only to be able to make the correct decisions as an adult, but also understand kind of like where other people are coming from with things. Where, you know, if somebody else has an overbearing parent and how that could influence. Because, see, for me, like, I'm matured because I have certain mental interest in like optimization, doing things the best way possible, like trying to do the right thing. I care about these things, and I want. So like for me, when I hear about, oh, you should walk every day. Of course, I'm trying to think about how do I fit that into my routine. Like, let's go, no time to lose. Like if walking is this like magical good thing, let's get to it. And then I'm rushing to figure out how to incorporate walking into my routine, how to change my potentially lazy opinions about exercise or anything like that, and to alter myself. And I'm okay with saying that. And I'm okay with, especially when it comes to lifting weights, how I'm not really good in that regard, and that needs a lot of work. And I was hoping by now I would have been on good terms, but I'm not. I'm still not, and it's sad. It's sad for me, but I'm saying I'll admit it. Like, of course, I'll admit it. I'll admit that I got work to do there. You know, I'm not just gonna like sit around and like, oh well, because before, my personality, my ego wanted to decide that I was just never gonna lift weights. That just wasn't for me. That can't be good. I don't like how it feels. Like, forget it. That's how I was when I was a teenager. But then as I got older, and because I have such a curiosity and willingness to learn, I eventually realized that, you know, that's a pretty dangerous idea. And, you know, especially, I mean, for anybody, but particularly men, um, it's really advised that you do some kind of weightlifting, even if it's just minimal once you age or once you get past, I mean, really, you know, a certain point. So it's likely that even now there could be certain things that are not really good because I'm not exercising. But the problem is, at this point, I don't really have like I don't know, I'm too behind on like so many, like my room needs to be cleaned first. You know what I mean? Like, I can't, I mean, a person can't be like lifting weights if they can't even keep their room clean. You know what I mean? So it's just, I mean, I hope it's something I get to, but the whole point is, I'll admit how terrible and stupid it is. Like, I don't, it doesn't matter that like my whole adolescence was like wasted basically, because I really could have and should have been doing those kind of exercises. I pushed my ego to the side, pushed that thing to the side, and just accept what is true. Because I could still be sitting here on my high horse about how, you know, I'm not going to lift weights. I could still be like that. I think a lot of people do. I think a lot of people end up that way, where they just don't really grow up. So that's kind of, I mean, that's it, right? I don't know. And so I think there's a difference too in my brain, because some people just don't care, you know, and they just get away with being like a terrible person or whatever, and just put a lot of burden on other people, put a lot of strain on the system, and they don't really care. They'll do whatever they can. They'll get away with whatever they can. You know, if they have to go to the hospital, so be it. You know what I'm like, they don't really think about things or understand how things could be a problem. So, yeah, it's like, and again, I mean, there's a horrible, I assume there's going to be some kind of karmic punishment for people who think like that, but you don't know where that's coming from. I mean, like, I'm thinking about now, it could, like, what if, I'm not sure though, because I think some people just genuinely don't care, and that's like a legitimate issue to bring up. You know, it's not always just that somebody has overbearing parents. Some people can just be pretty selfish. You know, like, it's pretty common, and in a big way, everybody is kind of selfish, or at least, you know, I think so. I think in my kind of like seeing things and seeing how things are, I think everybody's pretty selfish, you know. I mean, it takes a lot of a mind to not want to be. But it's so destructive, you know, like, you can really only have so many lazy and selfish people before things start to break down. And the way people are nowadays, there's just, I do think there's a larger percentage of people like that, where again, there's a mixture, because some people are selfish. Then you have some people who are good people, but they're mentally unhealthy. So, you know, they're basically quote unquote lazy, but it's like, they obviously, you know, they don't really, nobody wants to be lazy. and then they can't do anything because of that. Like, because it's they're just, they can't really get anything done because they're like lazy and they can't figure it out or whatever. So there's kind of like a few ways of looking at that. You know, I think some people want to help. They probably want to do the right thing and be a good person, but it's so easy in modern society for people to slip into terrible patterns, terrible behavior patterns, terrible thought processes. You know, it's like difficult. It's difficult for people to come to terms with that. Like, I don't know. It's a big problem. And so that's kind of what I'm saying when I talk about restrictions, man. It's like, I mean, there doesn't need to be crazy restrictions, but like, think about it, man. Like, I mean, seriously. I was really thrown off by the time, but I remember there was that recording issue. You can't have these systems where it's like people are like, their sleep schedule's terrible, and it's not really their fault. It's because, like, when you look at the food in their fridge and you look at the way their life is set up, like, it makes absolutely no sense. It's like, you know, of course you're technically supposed to have a bedroom exclusively for sleeping. You're not really supposed to spend time in your bedroom like for that long. Like, it's really supposed to be like a serious room. You're supposed to sleep in there, and you're supposed to maybe like study, maybe do work. Like, there, but ideally you would actually want like a separate room for sleeping. So you know, the fact that we have transformed the bedroom into this do everything room where you do everything in, that's not really what the purpose of the bedroom initially was. Like, the bedroom was not, the bedroom was supposed to be a room for your bed. It was supposed to be where you slept. And I think in the past, that's basically what it was. I mean, then eventually, yeah, people put TVs in their bedroom, and you know, that was fairly harmless, you know, having like some little tiny black and white TV in your bedroom. But then when it becomes like so many excessive things in your bedroom, now we're dealing with something that's a problem. Now we're dealing with like major sleep disruption, major overstimulation, and it's not good. And so you have people where, you know, maybe their life would be fine. Maybe their life would just be completely fine if they just had a normal room, you know, just like a normal living situation. Maybe their life would be completely fine. But the things that have gotten normalized are actually pretty extreme. They're not things that, you know, were ever normal. It just sets people up for failure. I mean, there's so many people where it's like you look in their fridge or their pantry and there's nothing good there. Like, so of course they're not going to eat well because there's nothing good in the fridge. Like, so of course you're not going to, right? Like it's so easy in modern society for people to just slip up and be not in good shape. you know? It's so easy. In my personal opinion, I don't really see how it's anybody's fault. Because it's like, how is it? I don't know. Like, it's not these people's faults. I mean, I guess, yeah, you could just be like enforcing about it and say, yeah, well, these people have free will. You know, they could change if they wanted to. But I personally, I don't really subscribe to that. I mean, I can see like you could give someone with an equal amount of free will, but just give them a household and a life where, let's say magically, like no electricity works in their bedroom. Um, I think their life would just be materially better. It would just be visibly better. If you transported the same human in the same body with the same brain into a household where there was only healthy food in the fridge, then there would be a better outcome. Like, I don't really think this is that complicated, you know? And so I just think you need that type of a society setup. You can't have a society that's set up to be a problem for people. You know, because that's what it is right now. It's like people and things are set up in a way for people to just get taken advantage of. That's just how it is. Like people get abused and taken advantage of by corporations with different kinds of profit motives or incentives. A lot of parasitic and pervasive behavior trying to squeeze every last dollar out of people they can. It's really sad, you know, and it's sad that as a humanity we all engage with it, or we don't really try to like rise above. You know, we just indulge because a lot of people, they really don't even have the time to really think or consider much of these things. I'm just fortunate to have the mind that I have, and have had all the free time and space necessary to really calculate and compute these things. You know, it's like, I don't know. Not everybody really has that time or effort or patience, and so to navigate the way things are, it's tricky. I think it's tricky for a lot of people. And so a lot of people need the indulgence that these companies provide as an addictive escape, you know, as some kind of a positive outcome in their lives. So I think there's two things, you know, I understand rules, I understand the value of rules, and I'm not really fazed by them as some other people are. And I could have been. Like, I easily could see myself as being a person who was really fazed by my mom and the way my mom was, and been a rebel for the rest of my life. But I think there was also, again, just there's an interest. I mean, I see how important rules can be, and how, like, if humans could just be given the correct rules and follow them without like a bunch of rebellion or a bunch of craziness, then things could actually be pretty good. You know, like life wouldn't really be so complicated. But it's like humans always want to rebel, they always want to do something different. or do their own thing, even in the face of when something is very toxic or destructive. Don't really want to come to terms with that reality. So it's a shame. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not really sure what the point of all this is, really. I mean, whoa. Somebody's doing like crazy stuff. They're driving like crazy. Yeah, sorry, I lost my train of thought. I just started thinking about a bunch of things. So, but yeah, that's basically what I think. It's like, I mean, I was given that perspective, but it wasn't in traumatic enough of a way. So, like, maybe I was traumatized as a teenager, but then in retrospect, it's kind of like, oh, well, you know, there still is value to rules. It's just the things my mom told me that were invalid. Like, it wasn't, but it wasn't like rules that were the problem. I don't need to really rebel or anything like that. But a lot of people don't lose that maturity. I mean, they don't like evolve out of that immaturity. They just stay at that stage for like the rest of their life, and they probably don't understand why things were like that for them. You know, I mean, a lot of people don't really look into psychology or philosophy, so they don't really think about why these things happen or how these things happen. So, just interesting. Whoa, what? That light always, oof. I'm serious. It's quite, but I definitely like made it through. It wasn't that close. But yeah, that light, it always gets me. Well, it doesn't always get me, but it usually gets me. Like, I'm like, whoa, oh my gosh, this cord. I guess the cord, yeah, I guess maybe it should be on the left. Like, it should be on my left. I guess maybe that's the problem. Because obviously, like, the left, less things are going on than the right of the car. You know, because my whole, like, center console and my bag and everything, you know, they're on they're on the center. So things to my right, there's going to be a much higher chance of some kind of a, you know, tangle or whatever. Like, whereas on the left, nothing's really over there anyway, because it's just the side of the car. It's not, there's nothing wrong with that. But yeah, I think it's actually why there's an importance for societal rules. There's a lot of rules that just they make too much sense to not incorporate, even if it causes a sense of rebellion in people. Like, there's just there's no way and there's no reason to not bother to incorporate some of these things. Like, I don't know, the benefits are too high or the downsides are too low. I just think there's too many things that, you know, they're just too important. And there are probably plenty of rules like that and rules that we could implement, and, you know, for whatever reason, we just don't. And that's, I've talked before about how frustrating that is to me. Because there's obviously just certain things we should be doing, and then we don't really end up doing them. All right. Let's try to get a move on here. Mm-hmm. Alright, guys, well, it's been Schllo, but now it's time to buy Schllo. So, see you, Schllo.